Again, man, if you're trying to go check out the Cleveland Guardians tonight as they take on the White Sox, you want to see Gavin Williams make his first start of the season, all you got to do is download the Game Time app right now. Create an account, use Locked On code NFL for Locked On NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code Locked On NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Joining us right now to talk more about the Cleveland Cavaliers is Locked On Cavs host, my man Danny Cunningham. Danny, good morning, brother. How are you?
I'm doing well. What's up, guys? How's everyone doing today?
Man, we chilling. We rocking, man. Listen, are you excited about the Donovan Mitchell hire?
Resign,
hire, fire, same difference. I'm waiting.
Of course. I mean, outside of the Cavs getting LeBron to come back, and really outside of like transactions involving LeBron, this is one of the biggest ones in the history of the franchise for the Cavs. They made a huge bet when they traded for Donovan Mitchell a couple of Septembers ago. They gave up a lot to get him. I think he's been a top 10 player in basketball when he's been in Cleveland and been healthy. And with that commitment yesterday, they got that guy to say, I want to spend the best years of my career playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't think that can be understated, just how big this is of a win for this franchise.
Danny, the thing about Donovan Mitchell, it was great that he got re-signed, but it's been reported and rumored that he is not a fan of getting rid of Jarrett Allen, who was a guy that could have them probably the most trade value on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Do you think since he's come out and said that, that's why we haven't seen the Cavs make any moves in free agency or any trades?
I think the free agency aspect of things was always going to be slow with the Cavs, and I don't think that those two things are all that connected. I don't know that those things are not connected in terms of why we haven't heard more trade stuff with Jarrett Allen. You mentioned that I do agree with you, has the most trade value of the available guys. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell would have incredible value, but he's not someone the Cavs are going to part with. And I think Evan Mobley would have a lot of value as well. But the Cavs are not interested in trading him. They're interested in extending his contract. Darius Garland's value, I don't think, is all that high on the open market. Look no further than what the New Orleans Pelicans didn't have to give up too much to get DeJounte Murray from the Atlanta Hawks. So I do think that, Donovan Mitchell would like Jarrett Allen to be on the basketball team next year. I think that those two have had a great partnership in the 2 years that they've played together. I think Kenny Atkinson would like to see Jarrett Allen around, but I wouldn't rule anything out. I know that the Cavs have privately, it's been reported that they've been very steadfast on running back the core four, but I think if you're Kobe Altman and you get calls from other teams specifically about Jarrett Allen, you've got to answer the phone and hear other teams out.
Not including their top four guys. What's the best way you see them being able to improve this offseason, Danny?
Well, I think they need more help on the wing, certainly. And they were never going to be, in my opinion, a big player in the free agent market. They just don't have a ton of avenues. Now, they've got the non-taxpayer mid-level exception that they can use, which is a little over $12 million. I could see them signing someone like a Gary Trent Jr. as a free agent, but it was always going to have to be playing in the trade market. I think they have some pieces that could be moved. Maybe you look and see what you can get by flipping a Karis LeVert to another team that wants to take on an expiring contract this summer to try and open up some cap space next year. Karis LeVert, I think, would be a great fit there for teams that are looking to do that and have a piece that the Cavs could be interested in bringing on at that wing spot just to sort of balance out the talent on the roster. But this is a team that needs more talent on the wing. They've got a lot of talent in the backcourt. They've got a lot of talent in the front court. But that wing position is where they need help.
I look at it, and like you said, I just don't see the pieces, the money, the cap, and they're not going to go over the into the second apron or luxury tax. So that's not going to happen. So I look at it and say, okay, well, how do they get better? If you look at the Knicks and what they've done, you look at the Celtics, even teams like the Magic. I thought the Magic got better. I think the Sixers got better. Is the Cavs' only recourse to improve and get players to take second steps that are already in your organization with young players in their guys that they have now?
I don't think that's their only way to improve, but I think it's probably the most important way they can improve. Because if you look at this roster, Darius Garland I think is a guy, not the most important guy here, but a guy worth bringing up because he had a nightmare of a season last year. And if Darius Garland is not even the all-star he was the year before Donovan Mitchell arrived, but if he's the same guy that played Donovan Mitchell's first year in Cleveland, you feel better about that than you did what he was last year. And then ultimately, this team's ceiling is going to be decided by Evan Mobley. I think Donovan Mitchell is the guy that raises the floor for this organization, this franchise. With him, when he's healthy, I think that this is a team that's going to be winning 47 to 50-plus games and a home court advantage team every year because he's just that good. But I think Evan Mobley and his development and just how good he gets, he's going to be the one that determines whether or not this is a team that can be a championship contender. It doesn't mean that there can't be moves made outside, but the internal development of Evan Mobley specifically is probably the most important thing that can change from last season to this upcoming season.
You know, speaking of Evan Mobley, now that they got Kenny Atkinson, and I think McNuggets sat down with him, do you think he has the potential to turn into a Draymond Green? Obviously he was really good defensively, and Draymond Green does a great job of facilitating, and he can occasionally hit those threes. Is that where you want to see Evan Mobley be, or do you think Evan is talented enough to go above and beyond that on the offensive side?
I think on the offensive side, Evan is talented enough to go up beyond that. Now, Draymond at certain points in his career has actually been a pretty good three-point shooter. Like a big reason why the Warriors won 73 games in 2015-16 is because Draymond actually shot 40% from three-point range. And I think a lot of people forget about that because the rest of his career, he hasn't been great. But there have been times when he has been. And I think Evan having much more size than Draymond is something that can help to elevate his offensive game and do things differently than what Draymond did. That said, Draymond's a great distributor. He's a better ball handler than Evan Mobley has ever been. But there are some things I think they can do with Evan Mobley that I don't think are massive changes that can help to get more out of him, even if he doesn't get better. Like, I just think there are some stylistic things, like playing faster, playing at a greater pace, can really help to unlock Evan Mobley and get more out of him offensively. And then defensively, I don't really think we need to have that conversation. Like, everyone just agrees he's a terrific defender. He's one of the best in basketball at his position. I think he's the best defensively when he can roam, play the floor, and play sort of that free safety position on that end of the floor. So I do think that there's a lot of room for him to improve offensively. And I think that him not being a point guard, and I know that's not what you're asking, but making more decisions with the ball in his hands offensively is another way that I think they can get more out of him on that end of the court.
Do you think that Evan can be that dog mentality? Because when you think about Draymond, you think this is a dog. This is a dude that people fear Draymond. He brings that type of style there, passionate guy. When you look at Evan, like, he don't really come off as that type of guy. Do you think that's something he could develop?
I don't know if you can develop that kind of attitude because you're right. He doesn't have that. And, in some ways that's good. Like, we have seen over the years, that attitude for Draymond Green has caused some problems in Golden State. It's not all been roses because of the way he has acted. Now, of course, it's helped lead to 4 championships for the Warriors. I don't know if that sort of attitude is something that we'll see develop with Evan. It is interesting, though, because to me, in watching Evan defensively, it's not just that he seems like a different player on that end of the floor. He seems like a different person. Like, he's not scared of any contact defensively. He's willing to fight with everybody. He makes big plays. And then offensively, I don't think he goes into contact quite as much as he should. He doesn't get to the free throw line as often as he should because there are times when he doesn't go up strong enough with the basketball. So I'd like to see sort of that mentality that I've noticed, at least on the defensive end of the floor, be something that translates to the offensive side of the floor. I think that'd be a really good thing for him and for the Cavs if he can make that transition from defense to offense while keeping that same mentality.
Earl, you got something? Danny, go ahead.
Yo, Danny, man, so you just signed Donovan Mitchell to a new 3-year contract. You have Darius Garland under a contract. Soon, Evan Mobley will be signing a rookie max deal. So that'll give you 3 guys that's locked up under contract. Kenny Atkinson says he has 3 former All-Stars, 1 perennial future All-Star, and Evan Mobley. Yet, when everybody's healthy, the Cavs is probably the 5th or 6th best team in the Eastern Conference. How can the Cavs organization keep selling this to fans as this current team can go win an NBA championship?
the way that they can keep selling this, and it's on you if you believe it or if you don't, but they can say that those guys aren't done getting better. During Kenny Atkinson's introductory press conference earlier this week, he and Cavs president of basketball operations, Kobe Altman, may mention that, player development doesn't stop when you become a good team. And that is something that I do agree with. Like, is Donovan Mitchell done getting better? They don't think so. They certainly don't believe Darius Garland and Evan Mobley are done getting better. So that's really the way that if the Cavs want to sell that, that's how they should do it. Because you can say, Donovan Mitchell's been a top 10 player in basketball, and they can believe that. And they can also believe that he's someone that's still getting better, that he hasn't reached his peak quite yet. And I certainly believe that to be true with Evan Mobley, with Darius Garland. I think those guys have better days ahead of them on the basketball floor than what we've seen so far. So if you want to sell it that way, that's the way to do it. I think that ultimately there will need to be changes. I don't think that the core four as constructed right now is going to lead to championship contention, and that ultimately should be the goal. I don't know if that core four is going to change this offseason or next offseason or when, but I think if this team's going to get to where it wants to be, there needs to be one significant change. I don't know what that change is going to be or even what it should be, but I don't think as constructed right now, the Cavs are going to reach championship levels.
Goldhammer and Dangerous Daryl Ryder in a fight to the death. Who you betting on?
Oh, man. Oh, probably Daryl. I would have to say
right
Daryl. I mean, listen, I like both those guys. Aaron is one of the least athletic people I have ever seen. I cannot imagine him in a fight. And I think Daryl would play dirty. I do. I think Daryl would pull out all the stops to get that done.
That's the right answer.
That's a great question, though. That's a great question, though.
That is the right answer. You're 100% right. He's a feisty guy.
Yeah.
Many people remember years ago when he tore my Achilles tendon. That's when he first got the nickname by me, Dangerous Daryl Ryder. He would fight. He would 100% fight dirty. Plus, Daryl's got a lot of built-up anger inside of him. So if he could take it out on Goldhammer, he'd kick his ass. I believe in that.
I think you need to ask him the better question, though.
Yeah.
The biggest question, Danny, in this whole rap beef, what side are you on? Are you team Drake or are you team Kendrick?
I am like Tyvis here. I'm team Switzerland. I don't have a reason as to why I need to pick.
Smart man.
There's no reason for me to pick a side. I like music from both of these guys. I'm not going to let the fact that they don't like each other determine that I can't listen to music by Kendrick or music by Drake. I think it's phenomenal entertainment. I'll give you that. Like, it has been amazing to watch from the sidelines as I just go, oh, that's a good point. Oh, that's a good point from him too. So I'm going to be team Switzerland. I'm staying in the middle. I'm not picking a side.
Well, he even asked the Switzerland question. The question is, who won?
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I can give you that answer.
I mean, that answer is Kendrick. I mean, I don't think that's much of a clear
I like this guy.
That answer is Kendrick. That answer is Kendrick.
I like the fact you didn't sidestep. You're my guy. You say core four gotta go, and Kendrick Lamar won. You're my guy, Danny. Come back anytime.
Thanks, Danny. Good stuff, man. We appreciate your time. Good luck, and everybody check out the Locked On Cavs podcast with Danny. Thanks, man. Be good.
Thanks for having me, guys.
You got it. Yeah, that's.
Do y'all think Evan could be a Draymond Green?
I was sitting there thinking, so Draymond Green is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I was like, is Evan Mobley better than Draymond Green? And I was like, I wanted to say yeah, but I had to go back and look, and I said, oh no, that's blasphemous.
Draymond Green defensively is like one of the top defensive guys that we've seen.
He's a rebounder, an instigator,
a passer.
I mean, he's not a great scorer, but
exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like, we're trying to get Evan to become this.
That's a Hall of Fame
offensive guy. Like, what if he became like Draymond offensively? But he would have to handle the ball and be comfortable.
I don't get the comparisons with Draymond. That like Draymond, I'm expecting Mobley to be a much better offensive player than Draymond. But in no way am I expecting, like, Draymond Green is a nut job. He wants to kill his opponents.
He's very good, though. He's a good nut job.
They won him 4 rings.
I'm not saying that is a bad thing.
I wouldn't be
scared of him.
If Evan wanted to go out there, he made people feel like he wanted to kill him. I'd take that. I take you because he actually is in the paint.
But you're missing what I'm saying. I'm not saying that was a bad thing. I mean, it has been occasionally. It's been a negative.
I ain't
for
telling
them.
him to get suspended.
But for the most part, it's a positive. But Evan Mobley's not going to be like him. He's never going to have that attitude on the court.
So let me check this out.
Why not?
So Draymond Green's best year, 2015, 2016, he played 81 games. He averaged 14 points, 9.5 assists, so basically 9.5 rebounds.
He averaged 9 assists?
No, he averaged 9 rebounds.
Oh, I was about to
14
say.
points, about 10 rebounds, but he averaged 7.4 assists.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
So
he almost averaged a triple double.
What was do we have Evan Mobley's season stats from this season?
Yeah, we do. Give me 1
He
second.
was like 16, 9, and 4.
So I mean,
that's pretty good.
He got to get to
Three.
what you he was averaging now? 14, 9.
About 14.
Wait a second.
14, 10, and 7.
Guys, we need Mobley to become the best player on the Cavs.
That's over.
We need him to be way better.
That's just not going to happen.
So here's
My problem is if he had Donovan's mentality, yeah, he could be, but he don't, and that's the biggest part.
But he's gotta become-
it's between his head.
He's got to become a 24 and 12 guy. For the Cavs to win
when he's
championship.
adopt that mentality, like you know what?
I want him to be Draymond Green. I want him to be better than Draymond
Going into
Green.
this season, I was like, you know what? If we miss out on Donovan, like if he decides to leave, it won't bother me because in the playoffs he didn't show up and stuff like that. This past playoffs has really changed my perspective on Donovan. Like Donovan was like, BS, if y'all don't want to help me, get out the way. I do it myself. Like if Evan did that, he could be much more effective than Donovan.
Is that possible that it could change? I mean, I don't know.
Yes,
You think so?
he better figure it out.
Nah.
If we need him to be the best player, then he better figure it out.
Ever play with someone who changed in that regard?
Either you got when he called.
Let me get back to you on that.
I mean, I think of other-
Let me
I
think
think
about.
of-
I got to think about that.
I think of the way I do my job now versus the way I started. I'm totally different. I think I'm the greatest sports broadcaster on the planet.
So okay,
You're behind.
I didn't think that when I first
You're
started.
behind me, but I hear you. Though.
Sometimes that we get and we talk about this stuff vaguely, right?
Yeah.
Can Evan Mobley take over? Can Evan Mobley be the best player? We don't drill down on what exactly his game is.
Right.
Because we don't know.
I've seen enough of it to know what he is not good at.
What is he not good at?
Shooting threes. Putting the ball.
But
He's
He's
literally had games we win 100%.
He's not good. Listen, he's not good at putting the ball on the court more than 3 times either way. He does not finish high enough underneath the basket. He does not have a go-to post move. He does not have a jump hook. And when I say go-to move, I mean that's my money move.
You're right about all of it.
It should be the
But
elbow
the Cavs'
shot.
hope is that they can develop all of it. There have been guys that have developed year 4 or later.
Who?
Giannis didn't become a superstar till year 4.
Hey. You
He didn't
comparing
become a
apples
star
to
till year
you
4.
comparing apples to oranges here.
You said who? I gave you an
That's
example.
I don't like that answer.
Giannis was
I don't like that answer.
One thing Giannis was always doing was handling the ball. He was comfortable having it.
But he wasn't a superstar till year 4.
He wasn't a superstar.
I'm just saying, guys, and what's his name? Lopez, he didn't shoot threes till like 8 years into his career.
What's the name? We talked about that.
Yeah.
Atkinson talked about
right.
shooting more threes. Here's the thing that I look at. We want him to become a star.
Yes.
And I think you got to think about what star means. Do you want him to become a star for the Cavs as in, hey, he's good for what we got? But when you say star and you go outside of the Cavs organization, does he add up to what other people are doing?
Well, he needs to. Otherwise they can't win that.
All right, so watch this. So Evan Mobley will never be better than Paolo Banchero, ever.
Probably true.
I don't believe that.
Paolo Banchero came into the league averaging 27 and 4. Last year he gave you 23, 7, and 5.
He's not the same
all right,
circumstance,
wait a
though,
minute.
G.
Here's a guy.
He's playing with nobody.
Let me tell you a guy that
He has a skill set. He can pull up. He can dribble.
He can't shoot though.
Who
can?
Who can?
Who can't?
I don't know.
Let me give you a guy that is in the same.
Yeah.
They about the same.
Wemby?
No, we might have made me cuss on. I don't even curse.
So I keep giving you young players that he's not better than now.
What? Check this. Check this.
Chet Holmgren, right?
Check this.
Not better than Chet Holmgren today.
Again, in fairness, and I'm not saying he's ever going to be better than any of those guys. He probably won't.
Okay,
that's a
but
shame.
But in fairness to
that's
him,
a shame.
Those guys went into situations where they got to be the man immediately.
I'll give you that.
He hasn't been. In that
that's a fair.
Chet is not the man immediately.
Who was it?
Chet Holmgren.
He wasn't?
No,
I wish he got
Shea
Gilgeous over there.
But he was the second guy.
He might be the second guy here.
Williams is his
second guy. But wait a second. If Mobley, let's say Mobley come into a team like San Antonio, where the team totally sucks, and he's the only player anybody cares about, he probably would have scored more points over the last couple of years.
So you're saying if you just swapped Wemby and Mobley would have the same numbers as Wemby?
No.
Okay.
But but he'd have better numbers there than he did here.
Okay.
There's an in between.
Okay.
The guy that when I look at Evan Mobley,
who's your guy?
It's like he's like Jaren Jackson Jr. Defensive guy, but see, Jaren Jackson can hit threes, and he got games where he's. Well, Mobley had a game.
I'm just saying we need to see him with a different coach before we completely write off the possibility.
I ain't writing him off. I'm telling you, he needs to develop the mindset that I'm that dude. I'm uneffable.
You're right, and that's hard.
Nobody gonna stop me.
Right.
That's what he needed. He need to say, I will bust your all three levels. I go to the cup, I pull up midi, and I pull from Trey. Triple threat. That's where he need to be. If he want to be considered as the best player on the Cavs, he need to be triple threat because he got the skill set to do all three.
I'm gonna give him an example. He can understand it. At Ohio State, there be dudes that you automatically know who good by what number they got.
Here we go.
Facts? Is it not facts? I know you good.
What number is
they come in there with that too? They that deal. I just tell you right now.
What number guarantees you the guys are scrub?
In football or basketball?
Football.
40 something.
38.
What position you talking?
The nastiest number.
Well, it depends on the position matters. Because if you get
so if you're a wide
36 is a bad number.
If you're a wide receiver and you get like 82.
82, 81. 81 is nasty.
No, you can't because T.O. was 81.
But
but everybody like single digits. You got to be in the teens or the single digits.
There was a dude who I thought was going to be, because, defensive end. I watched defensive ends. You had the Boses. You had Chase Young. You had a lot of those. Listen, I even like to do I like Darius Gibson. I liked his game.
Don't talk about my boy, man.
I like Darius Gibson.
Homie, don't do that.
I liked him. I liked his game.
Girl got to draw the line.
But there was too far. But there was
That's a 10 for a homie right there.
By the way, but you got 82. Ozzie Newsome was 82.
That was old school. We don't know who that is.
He's a tight end.
Yeah, that's.
They don't know who it is.
They don't know.
He's a tight end.
They like Ozzie.
John Stallworth from the Steelers Hall.
They don't know who that is.
I don't know who. We don't know who that is.
I thought this dude was gonna be cold.
Who?
Robert Rose.
Rob Rose.
He was supposed.
He threw the best party, one of the best parties in Cleveland. Rob Rose party. Woo.
Rob Rose had the number 9. He was big. He looked athletic. I'm like, this dude about to be the next dude up.
You know who was a good 82?
You still mad about the
82? He
ain't finding a lot of good ones.
Just to put this in perspective, we know how Myles Garrett looked like, right? I'm not exaggerating with what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
Rob Rose looked like that his senior year at Glenville.
Hey, Rob Rose was like, I thought they gave him the 9 coming in.
Craziest statement I've ever heard in my life.
He did. He's huge.
Like Myles Garrett.
Rob Rose was supposed to be.
He was that deal. I was like, yo, he's about to dominate the Big Ten. But guess what? It goes back to mindset.
It didn't work out.
You see what I'm saying?
Remember that guy from Baylor who was like
mindset?
Remember that dude?
Oakley, Sean Oakley.
Yeah. What happened to him?
Didn't work out.
Did he get in trouble off the field?
Yeah, he got it. But he was
arrested, I think.
He was accused of rape,
but
and then he didn't do it.
And it was crazy.
Now, by the way, 82. All right, let's see if you remember this. 82, he was a really good player for a couple of years. Then he came here to Cleveland, and he stole money for a year.
Dwayne Bowe? I thought he was 84.
82.
87.
Even more, it further pushes my agenda, what I'm talking about.
To bring this back to Evan Mobley, though. Like,
right?
I disagree with you, son, because to me, the most underrated part of his game is his passing ability, his playmaking ability, the ball handling, all of that. I don't think that was utilized much last year. And Kenny Atkinson all but said this man was underutilized in damn near every way possible last year. Mm-hmm. As far as the three-point shooting goes, I done heard Brad Daugherty talk to this. I done heard a few people talk to this point of Evan doesn't need to be this consistent perimeter jump shot shooter. And so many other things that he does very well that if that never develops to be that, he can still become one of the best players in the league and the best player on his team.
I don't agree
to that,
with
y'all
that.
say what?
How could I don't agree with that. How can he become
gotta
the best player on the team if he can't shoot three?
Listen. The best player on the team is Donovan Mitchell. Until Evan Mobley can tell everybody, you know what, bleep it, get out the way. I got this, and I win a whole playoff series by myself. He will never be the best player on the Cavs. I don't care what nobody say. So stop pushing this agenda that this man is going to be the best player on the Cavs. He will not do that. He's not going to do that. It's not going to happen.
Become the best player.
It's not going to happen.
One of the Cavs are never going to win a title.
Let me.
He ain't going to tell everybody, get out the way. I got this.
He has to.
He's not. No.
Let's go.
No,
he's got to take his you-know-what's out of his pants and show them to everybody. Let's go.
It's not going to happen.
That he just like. Let me just give you put it just in perspective.
Yeah.
So I keep once again. Is he good for Cleveland or is he good
still on that.
everywhere? Like when you,
I know what you mean.
You see what I'm saying? We do this all the time. We be like, oh, he's here. He got the uniform on. You're like, but no, he got the uni on. Like it's the CLE.
What do you mean? Is he good for Cleveland? What do you mean?
So let me just give you this. So Scotty Barnes was taken after Evan Mobley.
He won Rookie of the
Scotty
Year.
Barnes was Rookie of the Year.
Which
Scotty
a lot
Barnes,
of people say should have been Evan.
But when you go to Scotty Barnes' stats, Scotty
Barnes on a terrible team.
Listen. I get the terrible team.
We can't win the stats.
But no. You're never gonna win that one, right?
So what are we?
But you probably not gonna win the skill war. Scotty Barnes, they let him handle the ball. So my problem with the Cavaliers has always been this. You want these guys to turn into these guys, but then you don't utilize them and you still can. Why would you not develop him and say, if this is what we want him to turn the ball into, he should be getting the ball at the high post. He should be utilized that way.
I think this year they're going to do that.
Well, listen, you're 3 years too late.
No.
They're not
I don't know, too late, but late. Late is fair.
You late to the party.
Yeah.
So Kobe Altman, if you're putting a roster together and you draft Evan Mobley and this is what you want him to come to be about, you go to JB and say, no, this wasn't the plan. So we drafted him to do this.
So now you telling me you back on the fire Kobe Altman because it's Kobe's fault.
No, listen,
because he should have went and laid the law down.
Y'all know how I feel about Kobe Altman. Hey, whatever they do is gonna be whatever they do. What I'm just saying to them is the planning, bro. Where's these other guys? The Raptors, they're a bad team, right? Sometimes you're a bad team because you're giving young guys experience.
Yes.
And
but
then
the Cavs
that pays
do
off.
That because they
their expectations, yeah.
I mean, so you got
the Raptors have no expectations. They won their finals just 4 years ago. They're good.
At this point, arguing about what happened, it doesn't matter.
What I'm saying is
you gotta hope that going forward it's different.
Wait a minute. So are you insinuating that if you were starting a team today, you would take Scotty Barnes over Evan Mobley?
Please don't do this, G.
Listen,
hold on. Let him answer, Earl.
Hold on. Do I believe?
I just asked the question.
Hold on. Do I believe that Scotty Barnes is going to be a better overall player than Evan Mobley? No, I don't believe so. A, I think he was utilized wrong, and B, you could get more out of him if you had a more creative coach. However, what I'm pointing to is that Scotty Barnes' development at this point has been quicker and it's been more marked than Evan Mobley's. The guy's averaging 20 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 6 assists. That shows me they're putting the ball in his hands. Do I think Evan Mobley can get those 6 assists?
You know why they putting the ball in his hands? Because they ain't got nobody else to put the ball in.
So who you taking? If he's your guy, take him.
I wouldn't take Scotty Barnes over Evan Mobley. What I'm saying to you is the people that is
but you missing
amping the big part like he's gonna be some great.
You also missing the point of the fact that he got 2 ball dominant guards that he played with.
Well, I told you should have stripped Darius Garland and all that ball because listen. By the
That's
way,
the best thing he good
No,
at.
no.
He was going to make a bold statement, fight with you
no,
guys
hold
here.
on.
Nothing
No, listen.
Because he realized how blasphemy he was
listen,
about to sound.
I've always said that Darius Garland cannot be your second or first best player. I've said that multiple times. So Darius Garland, he has the ball in his hands a lot. And you saw I tell Jason Lloyd, for what? Like, he turns the ball over crazy in crunch time. So,
Was this always his thing, or was this just last year that he did this?
man, he still play around with the ball.
I'm saying, like 2 years ago and the year before, was he turning it over like that? I felt like he wasn't. Like the play-in year, was he turning? I don't think he was turning it over like he had the ball all the time.
You see, Tyvis, that's the way it works.
I'm just saying.
How we talk about it.
I'm just saying.
Yes.
I got a question. Shout out to Evan419 because this is the question. If Toronto had Donovan Mitchell, Scottie wouldn't have those numbers.
I agree.
Do you agree, G?
That's my point.
I've been making that point about a bunch of guys here.
Hold on. I think he still gets those numbers with Donovan Mitchell. It's just Donovan Mitchell. There's 2 people. The Cavs are different because
They got a core 4.
they got 4 people, right?
Well, Jarrett's not running the rock. It's only Darius and Donovan.
But if you look at it, if you watch,
I believe, to be honest with you, what they should do is they should strip both of them from the ball and let Evan push the rock. If he had that ability, your offense would be crazy because now you got a big man that's at the top trying to check dudes. Now everything is open. It would actually work out better, but that's a whole other story for another day.
I've always said that Evan Mobley should be playing at the elbow like a Chris Webber. He should be playing at the elbow, and they should be facilitating.
Doing grandmama commercials.
Larry Johnson is a facilitator. But no, listen, Evan. And I asked Danny this question. I said, listen, is the best way to get the Cavs to where they want to go is they just got to go all in on developing what they got, because I'm just telling y'all, bro.
That's what they're doing.
Ain't nothing coming from that.
Yeah, no.
Ain't nothing coming.
The only free
set in stone. I think
the only free agent he just said we might get Gary Trent.
Well, but they might still trade Jarrett
Junior,
Allen.
not
I
Gary
think it's
Trent
still possible
Senior.
they trade Jarrett
They
Allen.
not trading.
It's
Donovan
possible.
came out and said that he
Buddy Hield just got picked up. Life is moving on.
Miles
That's
Bridges
true.
about to get traded
All right,
to
let's
somewhere.
Let's leave it there for now because we got a good topic to move on to.